My family excluded me from the Hawaii Christmas trip at my sister's request. The email arrived on a mundane Tuesday morning, buried between promotional newsletters and work correspondence. Final Hawaii Christmas trip details, family update. My mother's name in the sender field should have been comforting. Instead, my stomach twisted as I noticed my exclusion from the recipient list. This forward came from my cousin Emma, who had always been more sister than cousin to me. "Just thought you should know," Emma's message read above the forwarded content. "This isn't right, Marcus." I scrolled through the detailed itinerary. 8 days at the Grand Wailea Resort, Maui. Ocean view rooms. Christmas dinner at Morimoto. New Year's celebration at a private beach villa. Every family member's name appeared in the carefully planned schedule, except mine. The orchestrator of this exclusion wasn't subtle. My younger sister, Diana, had made the arrangements, leveraging her position as the family's self-appointed social director. The same sister whose college education I had helped fund through my tech startup's early success. The same sister who now found my presence too complicated for family gatherings. My hands trembled slightly as I closed the laptop. Outside my home office window, Silicon Valley stretched out in its perpetual dance of innovation and ambition. The irony wasn't lost on me. My success in this landscape had become the very wedge driving me apart from my family. "Marcus," Sarah, my assistant, knocked gently. "Your 10 a.m. with the venture capital team is starting." "Cancel it," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "Cancel everything today." Sarah's concerned expression softened. After 5 years, she could read the subtle shifts in my demeanor. "The email from your family?" I nodded, reaching for the bourbon I reserved for celebrating successful deals. Today, it would serve a different purpose. "Did you know about the Hawaii trip?" "Diana called the office last week," Sarah admitted reluctantly. "She wanted to ensure you wouldn't accidentally learn about it through your usual channels. She was quite insistent." The bourbon burned less than this revelation. Diana had gone to such lengths to ensure my exclusion that she'd contacted my office directly. The same office that oversaw a technology empire valued at billions. The same success that she now wielded as evidence of my disconnection from family values. Our last conversation echoed in my mind. "You've changed," she had accused during Thanksgiving. "Everything's about acquisition values and market shares now. You're not the brother who used to read me bedtime stories anymore." What Diana failed to mention was how eagerly she had accepted the fruits of those acquisition values. The down payment for her house, the seed money for her husband's restaurant, the trust funds for her children's education. My success had been a family resource until it became a family embarrassment. Emma's follow-up message arrived. "Mom's torn up about this. She wanted to tell you herself, but Diana convinced everyone it would be easier this way. Said you're too busy for simple family celebrations now anyway." The familiar warmth of anger began to rise, but something else accompanied it this time. Perhaps it was the morning light striking my collection of family photographs, or maybe it was the weight of decades of memories. But a plan began to form. Diana had orchestrated this exclusion perfectly, but she had forgotten one crucial detail. I hadn't built a technology empire by accepting defeat. The bourbon remained untouched as I accessed my family's shared cloud drive, a system I had created years ago to store our photos and memories. Diana had recently restricted my access, but she had forgotten that I built the infrastructure. Years of family messages, planning documents, and group chats unfolded before me, revealing the careful orchestration of my exclusion. "We have to be delicate about this," Diana had written in a group chat I was never meant to see. "Marcus is so absorbed in his corporate world now. Remember Tommy's graduation? He spent the entire time on business calls. It's better for everyone if we do this separately." The mentioned graduation surfaced another memory, Those business calls had been desperate attempts to prevent a hostile takeover that would have cost thousands of employees their jobs. I had attended despite the crisis, running our defense between ceremonies because family mattered. The irony tasted bitter. A document titled Hawaii Planning Family Concerns caught my attention. Diana's meticulous notes revealed a months-long campaign. Marcus's presence creates tension. His success makes others uncomfortable. James and Lisa's kids keep asking why Uncle Marcus has a private jet while their parents struggle with mortgage payments. It's affecting family harmony. The same private jet I had offered multiple times for family emergencies. The same resources I had quietly used to help James and Lisa refinance their underwater mortgage during the recession. My sister had transformed my attempts to help into weapons against me. "Marcus?" Sarah interrupted again. "Your mother is on line 1. She sounds upset." I stared at the phone, its light blinking accusingly. In the background, my email pinged with another message from Emma. "Just found out more. Diana told everyone you declined the invitation weeks ago, said you had more important commitments in Europe." The fabrication was elegant in its effectiveness. A businessman choosing work over family reinforced every narrative Diana had carefully constructed. My mother would have been hurt but unsurprised, adding another brick to the wall being built between us. I picked up the phone. "Hi, Mom." "Marcus, sweetheart." Her voice wavered. "I just heard from Emma that you know about Hawaii. I thought, Diana said you couldn't make it, that you had meetings in Europe." "No meetings, Mom. No invitation either." The silence stretched between us, heavy with decades of family history. Finally, she spoke again, her voice smaller than I had ever heard it. "Your sister thinks she's protecting the family. After your father, after what happened with the company." She didn't finish, but she didn't need to. My father's small technology firm had failed when I was in college, taking the family's savings with it. My success in the same industry that had ruined him had always been a complex wound in our family narrative. "Mom, what exactly has Diana been telling everyone?" "She says you're becoming him. All the expansion, the acquisitions. She's afraid you'll crash like he did, and she doesn't want the family to go through that pain again." Understanding dawned like a cold winter sunrise. This wasn't just about wealth disparity or missed family events. Diana wasn't protecting the family from my success. She was protecting them from what she feared would be my inevitable failure. The rest of my day dissolved into a deep dive through family communications. Each message, each carefully worded exclusion, painted a picture of Diana's systematic campaign. The deeper I went, the more patterns emerged from the digital breadcrumbs of family discord. "Marcus's success is changing him," Diana had written to our cousins. "Remember when he showed up to Mom's birthday in a helicopter? He's not just becoming dad, he's becoming worse." She had conveniently omitted that the helicopter arrival was because I had cut short a vital investor meeting in Seattle to make it in time for the celebration. The family chat group split into two clear factions: those who believed Diana's narrative of my corporate corruption, and those who remained uncertain but stayed silent. Emma stood alone in active opposition, but her voice was easily dismissed as she had briefly worked for one of my companies. A text from Diana herself finally arrived. "I see Emma told you about Hawaii. I assumed you'd be too busy anyway. Isn't there some merger happening in Q4? We thought it best not to add family obligations to your plate. It's really for the best." My fingers hovered over the keyboard, composure warring with hurt. Before I could respond, another message appeared. "Besides, after what happened at Thanksgiving, I think we all need space." Thanksgiving. The memory surfaced of Diana's husband, Robert, cornering me after dinner. He had been seeking additional investment for his restaurant chain, angry that I had declined a third round of funding. "You've become nothing but a corporate shark," he had spat. "Success has made you forget where you came from." I had walked away then, choosing family peace over confrontation. Now I wondered if that silence had been interpreted as confirmation of their accusations. Sarah appeared with a fresh coffee and a concerned expression. "Your sister's assistant just called. They're planning to release a family holiday announcement, including photos from Hawaii, across their restaurant chain's social media. They want to know if you'll be issuing a statement about your decision to miss the family gathering." The calculated nature of the move struck like a physical blow. Diana wasn't just excluding me from the family. She was planning to weaponize that exclusion for her business's publicity. Local restaurant chain celebrates family values, would play well with their customer base, especially with the unspoken contrast to her corporate shark brother. My phone buzzed again. A message from my mother. "Please don't be angry with your sister. She's just trying to protect our family's reputation. Your father's situation, it affected her deeply. Every time she sees you succeed, she sees him falling again." The mention of my father cracked something in my chest. I pulled up his old company's financial records, documents I had studied countless times while building my own enterprise, learning from his mistakes. Diana had never wanted to see them, preferring to paint our father as a victim of corporate greed rather than examining the real lessons of his failure. I reached for the untouched bourbon, then stopped. Diana expected me to react like our father, with angry denials and desperate attempts to prove myself. Instead, I opened my laptop. If she wanted to talk about family values and business, we could have that conversation, but we would have it my way. Strategic thinking had built my empire, and now it would help me address this family crisis. I began methodically, the way I approached any corporate challenge. Sarah, understanding the gravity of the situation, cleared my schedule for the next 48 hours without being asked. First, I examined Robert and Diana's restaurant chain's financials, information readily available since they had used my initial investment to expand. Their holiday marketing campaign wasn't just about family values. It was a carefully orchestrated attempt to attract end-of-year investors. They needed capital, and my exclusion from their perfect family narrative was part of their pitch. "Pull up the records of every family financial interaction for the past decade," I instructed Sarah, "and contact Thomas Chen at the Honolulu Grand Wailea." Thomas, a business associate who had become a friend, confirmed my suspicions. Diana hadn't just booked the family vacation, she had leveraged my name to secure significant upgrades and special arrangements, despite supposedly wanting to distance the family from my influence. "She specifically mentioned you would be covering certain aspects," Thomas revealed, sounding uncomfortable. "We arranged several exclusive experiences based on our relationship with you and your companies." I thanked him and made a decision. "Please maintain all the arranged privileges for my family, but I'd like to make some additional arrangements." Next, I accessed the trust funds I had established for Diana's children. Funds she had never fully understood because she had refused to discuss anything related to my corporate world. Each quarter's statement showed how her rejection of financial literacy had left her unaware of the true extent of her family's security. "Your mother is on line 3, Sarah announced, "and Emma sent documentation you should see." Emma's message contained screenshots of Diana's draft social media posts about the Hawaii trip. The carefully crafted captions painted a picture of family unity and traditional values, complete with subtle references to choosing meaningful relationships over material success. I thought of my father in his final years, after his business failed. He had retreated into bitter accusations rather than adapting and learning. Diana feared I would repeat his mistakes, but in her fear, she was the one following his path. "Marcus," my mother's voice wavered when I answered, "I've been thinking. This isn't right. I should have said something sooner." "It's all right, Mom. I understand why you didn't." "No, it's not all right. Your sister, she's not protecting the family. She's protecting her own narrative, the way she's using this for her business." "I know," I replied, my voice gentle. "But I have a plan. Do you trust me? Her response was immediate. Always. I opened my email and began composing messages, not angry denials or defensive explanations, but strategic moves that would reshape the narrative. Diana expected me to react like our father, with desperate attempts to prove myself. Instead, I would demonstrate the difference between his path and mine. Sarah, I called. Contact the board. I'm initiating Project Legacy ahead of schedule. Project Legacy had been months in development, planned for the next fiscal year. But sometimes the best business decisions arose from personal catalysts. Diana wanted to talk about family values and business success. I would show her how they could work in harmony. The implementation of Project Legacy commenced with precision characteristic of our corporate initiatives. The timing proved more appropriate than its original schedule would have been, aligning perfectly with the holiday season's emphasis on family and community values. My mother received the first notification. Her charitable foundation, secretly established months ago, was now active. The endowment would support local businesses affected by economic downturns, inspired by the struggles our family had faced after my father's business collapsed. The foundation's first board meeting would convene in Hawaii, coinciding with the family vacation. Diana's carefully orchestrated social media campaign encountered an unexpected development when major business publications began reporting on Project Legacy. The initiative, restructuring my technology enterprises into a family-oriented business model, emphasized sustainable growth and community impact over rapid expansion, the very values Diana claimed I had abandoned. The board documentation is ready, Sarah announced, presenting the finalized papers. And Mr. Chen called from Hawaii. All arrangements are confirmed. The project's cornerstone became apparent as details emerged publicly. Each family member would receive an opportunity to contribute their strengths to the reorganized enterprise. Robert's Restaurants would become part of a larger initiative supporting local businesses. Diana's event planning expertise would find application in our community outreach programs. Every aspect acknowledged and incorporated our family's diverse talents. Emma's message arrived first. Marcus, this is brilliant. Have you seen Diana's reaction? Indeed, my sister's response proved revealing. Her initial social media posts disappeared, replaced by uncertain silence. The narrative she had constructed of the corporate brother who abandoned family values disintegrated against the reality of Project Legacy's community-focused mission. Your sister is on line 1, Sarah informed me, her tone suggesting Diana's call wasn't entirely unexpected. Marcus, Diana's voice carried an unfamiliar hesitation. The business channels are reporting. This foundation in Mom's name, the community support programs. How long have you been planning this? Since before Thanksgiving, I replied, maintaining professional composure. Every acquisition, every expansion you criticized was building toward this structure. If you had asked, instead of assumed, you would have known. The silence stretched meaningfully before she continued. The Hawaii trip. You knew about the reservations through Thomas, didn't you? You could have exposed that I used your name. Family protects family, Diana, even when they disappoint us. A subtle catch in her breath suggested the point registered. The foundation board meeting. It's not a coincidence it's scheduled during our family vacation, is it? Consider it my Christmas present to the family. Mom deserves to see her children working together, not competing over who best represents family values. The resolution manifested beyond mere corporate restructuring. Project Legacy provided a framework for healing family wounds, demonstrating how business success and family values could coexist and reinforce each other. Diana's fear of repeating our father's failures had prevented her from seeing how thoroughly I had learned from them. The Hawaii arrangements are updated, Sarah reported. Your sister added your name back to all the reservations, and the private villa for New Year's Eve. She's requesting you handle the planning personally. The Grand Wailea Resort's private beach villa offered a pristine view of the Hawaiian sunset as our family gathered for New Year's Eve. The past week had transformed our family dynamics in ways that exceeded my strategic projections. Project Legacy's implementation had catalyzed conversations that were long overdue, allowing us to address the underlying tensions that had festered since our father's business failure. Mother's Foundation had already approved its first round of community support grants, with Diana and Robert collaboratively managing the selection process. Their expertise in local business operations provided valuable insight into which enterprises most needed assistance. The experience had reminded them of their own journey and the importance of having support during challenging times. "You know," Diana approached me on the villa's balcony, her expression thoughtful, "I spent years afraid you would repeat Dad's mistakes. I never considered that you had learned from them instead." The project's structure revealed itself to be more than a business reorganization. It became a framework for our family's healing, allowing each member to contribute meaningfully while maintaining their individual identities. Robert's restaurants now served as community hubs for local business networking events. Diana's event planning skills found perfect application in coordinating the Foundation's outreach programs. The board meeting was enlightening. My mother joined us, her eyes reflecting both pride and understanding. "Seeing how you've incorporated family values into your corporate strategy, your father would have been proud of how you learned from his experience rather than running from it." Emma's children played on the beach below, their laughter carrying up to our position. The trust funds I had established for the next generation now included educational components about financial literacy and responsible business management, lessons our family had learned through experience. "The social media response has been overwhelming," Diana admitted, showing me her phone. The holiday posts she had originally planned, focused on excluding me, had been replaced with genuine content about family reconciliation and community support. The engagement metrics exceeded their marketing team's projections. Sarah had coordinated with Thomas Chen to document our family's evolution through professional photographs. These images would accompany the official Project Legacy announcements, showing authentic family collaboration rather than orchestrated promotional content. The contrast with Diana's originally planned campaign proved striking. "Your brother," I overheard my mother telling cousin James, "didn't just build a business empire. He built a legacy that honors where we came from while securing where we're going." As midnight approached, our family gathered on the beach. The professional success I had achieved now served its true purpose, not as a source of division, but as a foundation for family unity. Diana's fear of repeating our father's story had transformed into an appreciation for how thoroughly we had learned from it. "Next Christmas," Diana announced during our celebration, "we're hosting at the new Foundation headquarters. We'll combine the board meeting with a family retreat, if our CEO approves, of course." The gentle teasing in her voice marked how far we had come. The sister who had once seen my success as a threat now recognized it as a shared family asset, managed with responsibility and purpose. As fireworks illuminated the Hawaiian sky, I reflected on how our family's journey mirrored successful business principles: adaptation, growth, and the wisdom to learn from past challenges rather than fear them. Project Legacy had evolved beyond its corporate origins to become exactly what its name implied: a lasting foundation for both business and family to thrive together.